You spent your time putting out a job description, looking through who knows how many resumes. That is, if you get resumes. You go through the interview process, you choose the right person, and then 90 days, 120 days later, the person that is on that seat right now isn't the person you interviewed. What happened? In today's economy, finding the right person is by far more critical than really anything that's going on in the marketplace. Because without the right people, you're spending more time, more energy than you can servicing your clients and gaining more market share. In today's episode, we're going to look into the appropriate way of how to put a job description, how to ensure and be confident that the person you are hiring is the right person for that job and for the right environment. And more importantly, the things you may be doing wrong that are keeping the right person from applying and being part of your organization. That's today on PNB Network. It's personal about hiring. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to the PNB Nation, where it is all personal, not business. I'm your host, Mr. Rico, and I will be your guide through all things people and give you in-depth insights, strategies, and the secrets to behavioral dynamics to creating a common language for understanding people in and out of the workplace. So let's get started. One of the biggest challenges that I deal with our clients is, how do I find the right person? And if so, when I hire them, it seems that it takes a bigger percentage of people coming through the doors in order to find the right person. And through our years, what we have found is that many of the areas in how we are hiring hasn't really evolved. Now, you have a lot of different technical elements that assist you on finding the right person, but it's based on the criteria that you put in there. Now, think about the ecosystem of where you're going to have this new hire come into work. On a job description, you're putting around skills, experiences, locations that facilitate how to do a job. But here's some of the areas that we don't really take in consideration and we should be adding in the job description to immediately attract the right person. Beyond skill, what is the environment they're going to be working in? Sometimes we take that for granted because your work environment may be different than the work environment they're coming in. For example, is the work environment a typical fast-paced environment, result-oriented environment? Is it a collaborative environment? All those things must be taken in consideration because just because the person has the education, skill, or experience, their natural environment will be opposite of what you're about to place them in. The next you must consider is the leadership style of who's going to manage or direct. And if it is a leader you are hiring, how does that meet or in alignment to the current environment and workforce? If you have a leader that's more relational in nature, collaborative in nature, likes to get a lot of feedback before making a decision, and you put them in the middle of alphas who just want to get going, there may be a big learning curve there. So as we take in consideration first, the culture, the pace of the culture, the type of culture that it is. If you put it on financial advisors, they may be more financially driven, results driven. If you put them in a nursing environment, they may be more relational driven. So take in consideration first the environment because they're going to be spending a lot of time in that environment, especially now. Are you expecting them to work from home? That requires a different type of temperament than an individual who thrives in a group environment. Next, after culture and leadership, we want to look at, is this a customer-facing role, a on-the-phone role, or more in a dealing with the internal client or other employees role? Or fourth, are they more technical in nature where they're going to be more solo? Skills are important, but there are certain temperaments, certain types of individuals that thrive in each one of those. A customer-facing role needs to have that balance between being able to build rapport, quickly establish trust, communication, be liked, read a person, especially in sales or service, whatever it may be. When you're interacting with another human being, social skills are required. And if that's on top of a more faster paced, outgoing type of sales call or communication with a client, if you have someone who is a little bit more lower key, they may struggle. As also the other end, if you're looking for more a technical element where you're going to be in front of a computer on a regular basis or dealing with technology on a predominant amount of the time, not people, the right person that thrives in that environment is very critical. So as you start to look at your job descriptions, who you're trying to attract, consider these elements. The final element is on the onboarding, and we're going to dig into that in a future episode. Because here's where I see most companies lose so much money, especially in sales groups. Sales, they'll throw them into the wolves. Here's that person, you're going to learn about them, you're going to learn how to sell, look at the customers, and then you're on your own. Most companies are not taking the time to onboard those new candidates on the history of the organization, the standards of the organization, all of the other support elements to understand the processes of the organization, as well as why we do what we do in the manner that we do it. You need buy-in because you're bringing someone new that is going to represent the brand internally or externally. And you also need to consider that any new candidate that's being positioned into an established type of culture or team or group is initially going to be a disruption because it's new. You're disrupting the flow, even if you need them. So it's important to note, how do I get the very best candidate prior to even interview or even looking at their resume? If you're not using hiring assessments or analytics, using your job description to weed out the individuals by adding the pace, the environment, the type of leadership style, on top of skills, experience, and education. And in the interview, asking more behavioral character style questions as well as experience starts to narrow the gap. And on your 90-day onboarding, the training and development gives you that final filter to ensure that you're hiring the right person for the right position and the right role. Those roles and responsibilities are critical. And here's my final note if you want to really keep your top performers. If you haven't already, start designing career paths for different elements of management, directorship, or wherever the organization can send these new top performers or those who are hungry to go beyond where they are. One of the number one reasons organizations are now losing top talent or not attracting the best talent, there's no clarity of path for them to see a future or ongoing training to help develop. Right now, if you're not doing that, those are little small things you can do that'll separate you from the competition. Remember, we are dealing with other human beings who are looking at their future and growth. And the more lucrative you can make it, not just financially, but the environment where they're going to be spending a lot of their time, and the balance of what's necessary for your newer candidates gives you the ability to hire the best, keep the best, and maintain them as you go out through your career. Hope this was helpful and it was short. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button at the bottom. We grow by your experiences, your subscriptions, your comments, your thumbs up, so we can get to more of those newer emerging leaders, give them this information to help them thrive and succeed. Remember, we rise by lifting others, and hopefully this information will help you to do so. This is Mr. Rico, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.